It took her longer than she would have liked, but when she finally had shouldered her pack, Gordon motioned her closer to the edge of the web high up in the tree, out of reach of the miserable danger beneath them. She glimpsed around his shoulder, hoping to find the path to safety she hoped they were headed to. She found herself looking at the lower branches of the next tree, too far below for a human, even a trained fighter like her, to make the jump without slipping off the bark. Another growl shook the tree, accompanied by a symphony of splintering wood. The injury slows it down, but it is still too dangerous to confront it in a fight. We need to get out of here another way, Gordon urged, taking a step closer to the edge. But Gandrett grasped his shoulder, shaking her head at him as he met her gaze.
This jump will kill me.
It was difficult enough to admit it, that she wouldn't be able to do this on her own. There was no other way off the tree besides the way they'd climbed up, which was now blocked by the raging creature at the tree's trunk, the one that seemed determined to cut the trunk down, little by little, with its claws. But Gordon's eyes sparked, and he lifted a hand without letting her and the Maraul out of his sight. Then, with the flick of his fingers, the branches of the tree he deemed the exit route grew higher to meet them like a gnarly set of narrow stairs. "Ready?" He half smiled at her before dipping his foot over the edge and held out his hand. Gandrett swallowed her pride and took it, sword at the ready in the other. No way was she going to tumble off one of the sides and fall to the Maraul's mercy. She hadn't escaped the Dragon King in Akwood and Nehalon's gash, only to be eaten by a leather-skinned, saber-toothed monster sharpening its claws on the vegetation, in happy anticipation of slicing them through her chest.
"Ready,"
she breathed, and followed him along the swaying branches, one step at a time, her heart galloping at the bouncing and cracking of the too thin wood that had to carry the fully grown male before her, and then her. Not that her weight would make much of a difference next to Gordon's muscled body. "We need to get away before it realizes we're gone," he whispered over his shoulder, his eyes on the Maraul. "They're fast and strong and lethal, but they aren't exactly the smartest species roaming the realms." His eyebrows went up, as if amused by his own words. "If we hurry, we can make it across a couple more trees before it realizes we're gone, and we can continue on the ground where we are faster." Gandrett swallowed at the prospect of proceeding like this for longer than just the set of branches they were descending. Not that she was afraid of heights, but she very much preferred solid ground under her feet. Using her sword as a counterbalance, she tested her path along the branch, half expecting it to break any moment. "We're almost there," Gordon reassured her. Not that she needed reassurance. Well, maybe a little. She would have never admitted that to Nehalon, would never have allowed the Fae Prince to see how much he depended on another being right now. Sweat already beaded her neck, not from exhaustion, but from a new sort of tension that had nothing to do with anything she had learned in training. Trust. She needed to trust this Fae male before her with her life in order to have a chance to escape. The Maraul was an enemy that had almost slain the powerful Nehalon. She, as a human, no matter how strong her magic, wouldn't stand a chance. Gordon's hand held firm around her moist fingers as she clung on to him, inching forward like on thin ice, while the Fae didn't even need to look at the wood to know where he was going. Every time he set his boot down, they descended a bit farther toward the trunk where the branch grew thicker and more trust-instilling. But that was about it. Beneath them, the growling had started again, and this time, hot fury burned within the sound. Gordon grunted, swinging his axe as if to intimidate an opponent as he glanced at her yet again.
"This doesn't mean anything good, does it?"
Gandrett didn't need Gordon's nod to know she was right. "Worse," he said with a grim smile. "It's calling the pack to breakfast."